everyone, welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orla Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you are a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Dottie, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, Orly. I'm good. What's on store? What's on deck for us today?
So I'm excited. We have a special guest with us today. And, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Tech Tip podcast, which is another podcast I do, make sure to check it out because our guest today, John Kilpatrick, is actually going to be coming on there also and doing an episode on. So let me, first say what we're doing the episode on. Today, we're going to talk about online advertising and just how advertising can be used in your center. And today, we're going to kind of talk about, the marketing side of it and how it can help your center. And we're also going to have John, like I said, be on the lookout for that. John's going to come on the Tech Tip podcast to tell you exactly how to set that up. But today we have John. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, Orly. Hey, Dottie. Glad to be here today.
Hey, John, you're no stranger. You've also been on Beyond the Frame. So got quite the celebrity today with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, my God. You guys are so nice. Would you like me to do a little introduction so our guests?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So my name's John Kilpatrick. I'm a center owner-operator based out of Johnson City, Tennessee. I've kind of seen a little bit of everything in the bowling business. I've seen the highs. At one point, we owned 6 bowling centers. And after 2008, my dad got a divorce and the economy went boom. So I also saw the lows where we had to consolidate, as I like to put it, back down to one center. However, past couple years since we installed QubicaAMF for our guests, it's been a wild ride back up to the good times. And so again, I love our products. I also am a contract trainer. So some of y'all who are listening today, if you buy some new Cubica products, there's a chance I might pop up in your center to help you guys get started and really kickstart that new purchase of yours too.
Yes, yes. Well, as Orly said, advertising is what we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are so many opportunities when it comes to advertising. It's really super easy to do, which I know Orly said you're going to do a tech tip on just how easy it is to do. But let's just talk about the opportunities that you have by the monitors that you have in your center. And the touch screens and stuff, and the ability to advertise, custom advertising in your center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so we're probably gonna have the two parts. What the advertising you can do in your center, there's two major parts to it. There's one that's just called advertising, and that is what you have display when people aren't bowling. Like when there's nobody bowling, you can display it on your overheads. So as maybe one lane's bowling, they'll look up and they'll see, maybe you have a slide on there for an upcoming league or a restaurant. And then there's on-lane advertising, which is while your guests are bowling, you can set up how often and how long you want a slide to appear while they're bowling. Both of these kind of have two different usages, and they both provide different opportunities. So I think we'll start with the first one. How about, and we can, talk about some of the advantages and some of the things you can do just with the general advertising. So with the advertising, you can make a picture that is, I think 1280 by 720. You can, I usually make mine personally. I use, PowerPoint to make my slides. It's pretty easy to work in. I know some people, that there's other media that you can use. But I make my slides in PowerPoint. And when we display them up on the screen, we'll have things like we make it a point to have a slide for every league we have coming up in the upcoming season. We try to get them out about 2 months before the league starts so that we have some discussion points and, our guests have time to actually view and see them over time and get refreshed that maybe it's a new bowler thinking of joining a league and they see, I can bowl on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or they look up, I can bowl on Tuesday. I can do that.
Sure.
Maybe I'll come give it a try. We also have our menu. We have some key points of our menu up there. We make sure, and again, this is just the internal parts of the center. If we're running a food special for the month, we make sure we make a nice slide out of that. So, you can be very actively with what you're using inside the center, what you have upcoming inside the center to keep people educated and involved, even while they're, like I said, even while they're bowling. And that's just the regular advertising.
Sure. I do want to mention something because, it is getting that time of year where the league advertisement, it's a great, great opportunity to make sure that you're doing that. But one thing I want to mention is always keep in mind when you're creating those ads that you want to make sure that it's readable in the amount of time that you have that ad up.
Correct.
So make sure that the font isn't too small. Make sure that it's not, the font isn't too bold where it blurs or whatever, because you want to make sure if you're putting the message out that it's legible, right? So always be mindful of the amount of language that you have on the screen, and will the viewer have enough time to read it?
Yeah, another thing I like to mention is to make sure it all fits on the screen. It's not.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the rest of the day? It doesn't, and I've always looked at it as like almost as you have another employee out there. It's spreading the word about something, whether it's a special or something that's upcoming. Where if your staff's not letting people know, hey, these monitors are going to let them know. So it's almost like a free an employee that's not paid. You get a free employee.
Yeah. And John,
definitely.
You're, as Orly said, you're going to cover how easy that is to do. So something that's easy enough that you can change that routinely, which we want people to do, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the key points of it, of especially the advertising, is you do want to change out slides. You do want to take some of your internal advertisements and you want to make them holiday themed. You'll want to have a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, a Halloween. The more that you can kind of fit into the month, the more that you can keep it change and different, the better chance you have of people actually seeing it.
Right.
Now, what's also cool is the advertising can do more than just pictures. Not a lot of people know this, but like say you make a PowerPoint. So you have a PowerPoint, you have a couple slides together, and if you're fluent with PowerPoint, you can make the slides move in, fade in and out, all that kind of stuff, add some motion to it. And you can save that through PowerPoint, what's called a .mov file, .mov. And Conquer can display that in the advertising, and it'll display it as a video. Now, you'll want to, again, have the same thing. Consider how long it's going to take before you transition to the next slide so people can see what it is. But having motion in there will just up how often people look at it. That's like when you're posting on maybe social media. You can type something out and you might get some people to see it. You can put a picture and you'll have more people stop and looking at it. But when you have motion or video or something that's moving around, that attracts eyes. That gets people to look at what's going on. So again, if you got the time, I highly recommend taking a look at PowerPoint, making a presentation, have some movement in there, because it's just going to grab that much more attention.
Yes, I totally agree. And, if you don't have the time or whatever, keep in mind that QubicaAMF, as part of your purchase on many of the products, on BestX, on, even things like QPads and things along those lines, there's marketing material available to help you get that word out. So there's videos, there's static ads, there's things like that you can very easily work into your advertising. And just simply go to the Q portal, the marketing resources library, and you can download all of those things. They're already ready for you to go.
Yeah, and there again, I gotta say, I have a number of those in my own personal mix as well. Again, because it's informative about Best X. It's informative about bowling packages that you can do. It has we have information about the Mad games as well. And I'm going to throw this out there. I know it's going to sound like a shameless plug, but they're not making me say this. I promise you guys they're not. One of the best things we did when we upgraded and got Best X at my bowling center is we took advantage of the virtual marketing. With Dottie. Dottie was our coach. And I tell you, having somebody, because there's so much information when you upgrade to a system or you're upgrading into Best X, there's so much stuff that's going on. It's easy to have some things get lost. in that
Yes.
process of going back into operations and things like that. And virtual marketing manager was one of the best things we could have done, because Dottie made sure that we were using the
Yes.
advertising and getting in and just routinely using it, and having somebody help develop some of the images, but also kind of keeping track of where we were, really helped us up our game on the advertising. We've been using it successfully since.
Well, thank you very much for that, John. And that is one of the things that we do pride ourselves in, is we want to make sure that when someone makes a purchase, that they're able to be that we want them to be happy with it. And the only way you can be happy is if you know how to use the products, and you're using them well, and you're using all of them right. So thank you for mentioning that. Orly and I are part of that business services team, and that is something that we get the pleasure of doing for customers all the time. So speaking of advertising, we're talking a lot about how we can leverage advertising for advertising what we've got going on. But, I just want to throw it out there, because you also, you have great real estate there, and you have the ability to put a whole program together where you can have outside advertisers, pay a subscription. So that's something, speaking of virtual marketing manager, those are some of the things that we can help customers with. But I throw that out there in this episode, because sometimes we forget what we have in front of us. And it
100%.
is a great way to bring outside advertising dollars into your center. And, you can even pull reports and show how many bowlers are through there. You can't, how many spectators are through there. You can't do that. But certainly you can show that potential advertiser how many people you've got through your center. And it's extremely attractive.
What I was going to say is, again, my favorite word, free. It's another free way to if you already have those monitors in your center, why not use them to your advantage? Bring in those outside.
Right. That's money right there.
Yeah.
So
money on the table.
My best recommendation then is if you're looking for that one of those reports in Conquer that can tell you how many people you had come into the center. My personal favorite report is the comparison report. So that's going to be, in Conquer, you would go to the tab marked reporting. You go to the secondary tab marked reporting, and you'll go to statistical reports. If you pull the comparison report, you can do it for your numbers last year. You can do it for up to current. But if you do a year report, at the very bottom of that report, it will have the number of customers, league and open play, that bowl at your center. So let's say you've got BestX, you haven't been using the advertising, and you want to go out and you want to get some people to advertise in your center. And maybe you charge, maybe you charge $100 a month, maybe $500 a month. It's kind of, what
you have to test the market,
what you can do, what can your market support. But you, at least now when you walk in and have that conversation, you can say, hey, look, we had, the population in our town is 100,000 people. And last year we hosted a total of 60,000 customers.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Our business. And, that's 40% of the market spends, or not 40, it'd be more than 60% of the market in that. But, whatever percentage of your local market is represented by your bowling center. Yep. And some of that market is repeat customers who are going to see their ads multiple times. And the more you see an ad, the easier it is, the more it comes closer to memory. Yep. People trust businesses that are recommended by their friends. Yep. And look at it. We're still kind of one of the town halls where people come out. This is their social time, and if we partner with a company, they're probably going to look at us and say, "Hey, that's somebody that the bowling center trusts."
Yes.
And
it really is. It's an easy sell. You have supporting documentation to back you up. The ads are high definition. And so it really is an easy sell. So if you've not considered it, I certainly would. And you can set up things on a reoccurring basis. Now, that's one opportunity, right? And that helps you bring more revenue into your center. But the other thing that I like to mention when it comes to advertising, now we're going to talk about on-screen advertising for just a second, because, the light bulb came on. I want to mention this. But another thing that we always like to do is help centers to understand where their competitive advantage is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, especially this time of year where we've got different leagues shopping around, and Orly and I did an episode on Seeds of Success specifically talking about things to attract leagues. But something that's really attractive is being able to offer them the ability to go out and sell sponsorship, right?
Yes.
And on-screen advertising is great for that. So leagues can go out and they can get their sponsors for, X number of dollars to add to their prize fund in return for high definition digital advertising. What a deal, right?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic idea. And again, you can make those lane on advertisings. You just make a separate playlist. So you could say your Monday Night League, you put the sponsors from the league in there. And if you turn on the lane on advertising, which is right next to it, when you get into Conquer, there'll be advertising and then there's lane on advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And while that league's bowling, all you do is you select it. You select how long you want it to display, how often it displays, and you can make sure that all their sponsors get shown to the league once, maybe twice. You can say how often is it going to be viewed while the league's bowling for whatever amount of time.
Yeah.
That is an excellent way for them to get some extra revenue in there.
Yeah. And then, you might even have different levels of sponsorship. So if they want to go up to the next level, they can get 30 days or however you set the parameters, right, of off-lane advertising that rotates in your playlist advertising. But, another opportunity with that is when you have fundraisers and they're wanting to come into your center, right? And you want to offer them the ability to sell ads for additional revenue, right? That's a competitive advantage for your center. A lot of other centers can't offer that. So that's a reason for a fundraiser to choose your center.
So can I touch on that a little bit, because I've got some real world experience with that one and some success stories to share.
Of course.
So we have one fundraiser that comes out every year. Is it okay for me to drop their name, you think?
Yes.
Okay, they're called Brothers Keeper. They're a group that works with autistic adults transitioning from moving to school to moving into real life.
Very nice.
And it's a really great organization. They do a lot of work. We do a fundraiser with them every year. And they have some keys to their success that we've worked with them for years. One of the first things is like golf tournaments. You know how they have hole sponsors? That's what they do with companies. They have companies that will sponsor like the overheads. So they'll say, hey, if you want to rent the lane, if you want to buy like a hole for like lane 19, you can have that for $500, $600. So depending on the number of lanes you have, they can sell a number of those sponsorships. Another thing they do for the lane on advertising, since that scrolls. So if 500, 1,000, whatever they're charging, if that's too much, they can say, oh, well, you can be part of this one where when people are bowling, your ad will pop up in front of people while they're bowling at least twice or whatever amount it is. And they sell that for maybe $300. And there's no limit to the number of those that they can sell, because it's, we determine how fast it's going to pop up, how often it's going to display, and they can sell that to a number of companies.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's that too. And now, like, I just got Neoverse, and I can already see in my head that, they can go out, they can talk to a company and be like, do you want to be the grand sponsor? The grand sponsor, the center has got a wall that everybody's going to see while they're bowling, and we can put your company logo out there, while they're bowling. And it will be, it'll be across the whole center. Maybe that's a $10,000 sponsorship level. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depends on what your organization is, but it's just another way that you can use these to sell. Because if you're going to do the lane sponsorship, that's going to be, you go under lane options and you can select what that background's going to be while you bowl.
Well, I want to go back to something that we talked about just a few seconds ago, and that was you were talking about the on-screen advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Something, and again, this is the title of our series here is Seeds of Success. So we're going to drop little nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that came to mind when you were talking about that is if I have a group that's coming out and we are honoring, today is John Kilpatrick's last day with Holiday Lanes, and we want to honor him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can also throw in images,
Yep.
that you can rotate through there. So it's great for like honoring people or, poking fun at people. If you, whatever the case may be, if you want to roast somebody.
I can already see it is you got a group coming out. I can see this in my head. You got a group coming out and they want to come to the Bowling Center maybe for a wedding reception.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what you could do is like, by the way, for an extra $300, $500, whatever you want to charge for an extra couple $100, if you give us a collection of digital photos of the couple while you guys are having the reception, we can make sure that those photos appear while people are bowling. And it's really easy to upload. Again, all they got to do is either email you, bring you a thumb drive, and you just plug it in the computer, bring those images into Conquer, and you're ready to go. I mean, it's so simple.
I'm going to throw one more thing out. And John, you and I actually, we spoke briefly after the sponsor pavilion at Bowl Expo, and I was sharing with you about a gender reveal idea.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just going to say, folks, use your head and start thinking of different things. I'm just going to throw out gender reveal, and I'm not going to give any more details. So you have to stay tuned. Neoverse is on the horizon for a lot of people. So I'm just saying, think it through. There's a lot of different ways that you can use some of these things, and you've got them right at your fingertips. It's not going to cost you any more money. In fact, it's going to make you a lot more money.
And one last top of mind thing that I have about the online or the online advertising, which is when people are bowling and then the picture pops up. If you're not utilizing that in open play to display pictures of your food, you are missing out. You're leaving money on the table.
Yes.
That is one of the most efficient ways that you can increase sales within your center is make a hamburger, make a fries. It's as simple as, getting a nice picture of it, importing it in, or maybe making a slide on PowerPoint with some details, try our try our cooked fresh hamburgers, lettuce, tomato, pickle, onions, and mustard, or just something to kind of, give a description of it. Have it on the screen while they're bowling.
The picture itself. I know Orly's all about pictures of food.
Yeah.
Sometimes just seeing that, just doing nothing more than flashing that picture up on the screen, you're like, ooh, man, that looks really good. I think I'm going to have that. I know, Orly, you're really big on the photo.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just going to say that.
A picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, they might not even be there to eat. They might just say, hey, we're going to bowl. We're going to go eat some dinner somewhere else after. But then start seeing those pictures. They're going to be like, that actually looks really good. Let's get that. I used to tell Dottie that too in another episode that we did. It's the same thing with the menu. I always would ask people when they would come in, would you like a menu? And they're like, no, I think we're good. We're going to grab food after. And then they start smelling that food or, and what I would do is no matter what, even if they said they weren't going to eat, I would wait 10 minutes or so and just go down there and just be like, here's a menu, by the way, just in case you do decide to get an appetizer or something. And then they just start looking at that alone and they start reading the things and the descriptions and they're like, we'll get some nachos or we'll get some of this or that. So yeah, same thing with a photo. If they're going to see that photo, it's going to make them hungry, or maybe they have little kids with them and be like, can we please get a burger? And then, and then they end up eating there too. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And, as we've said many times, our role and our purpose with Seeds of Success is to get people to think through the different things that you can do to either enhance the experience or to make more revenue. So, John, we really appreciate you being here. We could talk for hours on this topic. I mean, the possibilities are endless. The more you think, the more things you think of, right, to be able to use it.
I'd say if I just make one last point on the food and everything like that, I always try to help or at least the way I think of it and the way I try to share it to to some of our customers when I'm on training, is that advertising can be for anybody. That's when the lane's turned off, all that stuff. But the lane on advertising is one of those key points. So if you have somebody and you're talking about, we're going to advertise, and they're like, well, can we get it while people are bowling? I always look at that as an ultra premium space, because you're giving up a hamburger for their slide. You're giving up a French fry slide. You're giving up some of that time where you can really promote, go to our pro shop. That's all super premium internal advertising, catching that from a customer. So if you have somebody that does want to buy that, make sure you price it accordingly. That's not one that you want to give away.
That's exactly right. Just because it's not costing you anything to create that does not mean you should not charge the price. Mm-hmm. So you have, like you said, prime real estate there.
Yep, exactly.
So make sure that you are not selling yourself short. And that, I think, that in itself can be said for a lot of things that we do in a bowling center. You're delivering a fantastic experience. Don't be afraid to put the price to it. Don't lower the value of what you're doing by putting a cheap price on it. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid, and stand behind your decision 100%.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, where sometimes people think you have to lower your prices to get people in. Like a special always has to be lowering your prices. If we offer this and it's going to come with this for free, yeah, it's something good. But me and Dottie talked about numerous times is if you're offering a great experience, your price isn't going to really matter. They're going to pay it. They would rather have good quality than to have something just cheap and something you're just not.
100%.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
100%. Well, listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. I myself have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. There's so many opportunities in a bowling center to just kick it up a notch, right? And John, you have really given us some great ideas on how we can use things that are already at our fingertips. So thank you for that. Listeners, we look forward to you tuning in next week for another episode of Seeds of Success, as we equip you with more practical tips, ideas, and trends that'll help your center grow and achieve new levels of success. Remember to share this podcast with your entire team. The more seeds you plant, the bigger the crop. John, thanks again for joining us. Listeners, we'll see you next time on Seeds of Success. Keep growing your business, one happy customer at a time.